Hi, everybody. This is Jimmy, and you're reading with Jimmy. This is a quick take to Build a Fire by Jack London, subtitled Man versus Nature, Pride, and the Brutality of the Wild. Welcome, everybody. What if I told you that one small mistake, one underestimation of nature could cost you your life? Well, that's To Build a Fire by Jack London, a story about arrogance, survival, and the brutal indifference of the natural world. Did you know that the natural world doesn't care about you or me? Can a human intelligence really conquer nature? Is that possible? Or does nature always have the final say? Huh? And if you think you have to be in the Yukon for a simple mistake to cost you your life, think again. Welcome to Reading with Jimmy's Quick Takes, where we break down literature's greatest works in 10 minutes so you can get straight to the good stuff and read along with Jimmy, the whole story, the whole novel, the whole play. Let's dive into this chilling tale of man versus the nature wild. So what's the story? Well, the setting is the Yukon wilderness, Canada. The temperature, think about this, 75 degrees below zero. A nameless man traveling alone, except for his dog. This is a third-person narrator. So, the third-person narrator we believe, right? We talked about narrators when you read with Jimmy. This is a nameless man, only him and his dog, and he's calm, confident, but completely unaware, it seems, how deadly the journey really is or could be. So what's the plan? Well, he's trying to reach a camp where his friends are waiting. It's just a long walk through the snow. What could go wrong? He's been warned not to travel alone in this cold. Remember, it's 75 below. I don't know if you know what that means. You come from even Chicago, it's never gotten below 26 below. I remember that. But he ignores the advice, and his first mistakes, he falls through the thin ice, soaking his boots, his legs. Now, he knows he needs to build a fire immediately or he'll freeze. So he builds a fire, but the snow from a tree falls and puts that fire out. He tries again, but his fingers are too frozen to work. Panic sets in. I don't know if you've ever panicked, but panic is a dangerous thing because then you just don't think straight. So his body shuts down from the cold. The dog watches as his master collapses. And the animal, sensing death, quietly walks away toward the camp. Nature doesn't care about you, so you respect nature or you die. It's a sad story. So what's the deal? Well, Jack London, through the third-person narrator, doesn't write a heroic survival story. He writes about the harsh realities of nature. Nature isn't cruel, it's just indifferent. What did Nietzsche say? That indifference is the greatest insult you can give to anybody? It's not your hate that's insulting or words, sticks, and stones. It's indifferent. Well, I don't care. And that's nature. The cold doesn't really hunt the man. It's just cold. Instinct versus intelligence. So the dog survives because the dog trusts its instinct. The man should have never left 75 below. The man dies because he relies on logic, but he ignores experience and advice. Pride kills. Don't forget that. He was warned not to travel alone, but he thought he was smarter than nature, smarter than the old-timer who was giving him advice. What could go wrong? He's just walking. So no one really wins in this story. There's only survival or death. The themes of To Build a Fire. Well, it's man versus nature, one of the great themes of all time. The wild doesn't care. It's just there. The limits of human strength. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we have limitations, right? Intelligence is not enough when the body fails. There's a mind-body relationship, if you haven't figured that out. There is a relationship, and that's what this story is about, what you should remind yourself of. And it's the power of your instincts. That dog follows survival instincts. It's a great story when we read it together, and hopefully you will. The man ignores warnings. He ignores them. I don't need to. He pays the ultimate price. And the third person narrator doesn't write about adventure. He just writes about reality. So why should we care about a story about somebody freezing to death? Well, because we're still underestimating danger, whether it's extreme weather, the ocean, the mountains, walking across the humans just don't think they're in control. They think they're in control, but they're not. Because survival still depends on respect. You have to respect your enemy, nature. You have to respect things around you. You cannot fight Mother Nature. There used to be a great commercial. You can't fight Mother Nature. You can only adapt to it, right? Because pride, one of the 7 deadly sins, right, is always deadly. Too much pride. Pride, brings the downfall, right? Whether it's ignoring safety warnings, I don't need to go 65 on this road, overestimating your abilities, or taking unnecessary risks. I can do it. Pride still kills. That doesn't mean you shouldn't take chances when you need to. It means you should think about these things, because when people tell you something, they're telling you something for a reason. Parents give advice that I remember not paying attention to well, you shouldn't hang around those guys, Jimmy. My father used to tell me, what do you know, Pop? Right? Right? We're all smart when we're young. And because instincts still matter. You get that gut feel, right? In the wild or in life, sometimes trusting your gut is smarter than overthinking it. I remember in one meeting, I was talking to an executive. He says, well, this doesn't meet the smell test. And I said, what the hell is that? The story doesn't just show survival. It's a story about human arrogance. Pride cometh before the fall. Don't forget that. Don't forget that. Calling all readers. That's to build a fire in 10 minutes. 10 minutes, right? Did I get your attention? You're on the website. Come on down and read it with me. Why not go deeper and, go to YouTube if you need to. You're on the website now if you're reading this, or you're on YouTube reading my 10-minute summaries. So why not join me and read the whole story? Let's take the deep dive together. I'm going to analyze every chilling mistake. The language that Jack London uses is beautifully written. It's beautifully written. Tense, early warning signs, every lesson that still applies today. So I'm going to leave you with this question. Is human intelligence enough to survive? Do you think rationality? I was listening today to the, guys talking about the stock market, and somebody was saying, well, we need certainty. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? There's no such thing as certainty, right? Well, certain we're all going to die, but other than that, I don't know much, right, about certainty. Or do we need something more than intelligence to survive? You want another classic broken down? Email me, jimmy@readingwithjimmy.com, jimmy@readingwithjimmy.com. And thanks for listening to 10 minutes. But before you go, let me show you this. This is what you'll see when you get to Jack London's To Build a Fire on my website or on YouTube. The story, I'm going to read it in 45 minutes, ladies and gentlemen. You already took a 10-minute walk with me. This is a 45-minute reading. And then there's so much to understand that Jimmy breaks it down into 2 parts for better appreciation of the story and a complete interpretation, right? That is longer or shorter, but there it is, right? It's a beautiful story. Join me and let's build a fire together. Let me light a fire under your curiosity about reading the classics. Stick with me. Thanks for stopping by.